All right, welcome to another episode of Black Coffee and Crime. This is episode 31, and we are doing something a little bit different. Last week's episode, we filmed that on Sunday, February 7th. And then this one, we're actually recording on Thursday, February 11th, because this weekend is Valentine's Day. And it's 2021, y'all. We missed all the love last year. Everybody is trying to gather up as much love this year as possible. So what we're not gonna do is sit here on a Sunday on Valentine's Day and talk about murder and mayhem with y'all. So that's why we're doing this episode early, but you will receive it on our regular Tuesday. So that's it. Those are the church announcements ahead of time. You still have to respect your pastor, obey your ushers, and always govern yourselves accordingly. All right, so we got that out the way. Now, this week, in the middle of this week, DFW is an entire icy shit show. This morning, last night, the temperature dropped to about 27 degrees, which is below freezing. And in Dallas, in Texas, North Texas as a whole, we pretty much don't know how to drive in inclement weather.
We don't know how to drive.
If it's not completely dry, we panic and we drive faster. And there's bridges that ice over and we drive faster. And we see brake lights and we drive faster. I mean, and I don't understand why people do this. This morning, so I work at night, so I leave work at 6:30 in the morning and it's dark and I'm downtown Dallas. And not a lot of people came to work this morning because of the weather. And when I was leaving, there's a weird on-ramp where you enter in on the right side instead of entering on the left. And as soon as at Commerce, Jackie, I thought you're familiar with that one. So as soon as I get on, like it's that blind curve, the courtesy truck is right there. And there's two pickup trucks that had an accident. So I had to scoot all the way over to just inch around them. And then 30 West was shut down. I-35 Northeast, I-35E North was also shut down all the way through Oak Cliff. So way past, like we're talking about past Keast, it is still shut down. And then at Keast, it started to rain this morning around 7:45. And it's still 27 degrees. So, also in Fort Worth, there was a 70 plus car pileup this morning on I-35W. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I saw it on Instagram. I saw it on Facebook. Videos of, passersby going in the opposite direction where there's like a FedEx truck that just slammed into another truck and cars are just piled on top of each other like they're Matchbox or Hot Wheels. Y'all be careful.
Yeah, 5 people passed. I think 5 people.
5 people, and I think 11 people were injured. It's bad. It's bad. I mean, you just really see this as the person, whoever's filming the video going the opposite direction. You could see the cars just coming, and you're like, did y'all see the brake lights? But again, the roads are icy on North Texas freeways. It's like a patchwork. So none of the freeway surfaces match. Some of them, there might be asphalt, and then other ones are concrete.
Yeah, it's weird.
And so when you go, because there's constant construction here. So you don't know whether that's the actual road or if it's ice. And if you're going, put it this way, if you're going fast enough to have to hit your brakes, you're going too damn fast.
Mm-hmm.
You're going too fast. So if you have to hit your brakes at all, touch them, whatever, you're going way too fast. This morning, I did no more than 30 miles an hour. I got behind a slow car all the way home. Because I'm like, I don't want to have to go fast enough to hit my brakes. People are going around me. And I'm like, y'all, this is not good. It can't be, because if someone else is in front of you, if there's an accident, what y'all gonna do? So
yeah, last night we literally drove about 30 miles per hour. And let me tell you, when I tell you going over them bridges, we were sliding like crazy. I mean, like crazy.
And you have
so
to believe people in your house.
Ooh, they had an attitude that we were going slow. I was
Yeah,
like, what? We're like sliding. No grip
and
whatsoever.
I don't like driving over bridges. So if I had to go to your house,
Yeah, I'm by a lake too. Child.
oh no. If um
Big body of water.
my
Come
mom
on.
used to work out there in Rowlett at the hospital, at one of the hospitals out there, and going over Lake Ray Hubbard in like if it was windy, horrible. If it was
Oh,
raining, horrible. And you remember like what 4 or 5 years ago, Christmas, the tornado came through,
mm,
and those that one there were a couple people that lost their lives right at Ray Hubbard because of the
yep.
tornado. Mm-mm. And you have to go to get to your house to go over Ray Hubbard,
Yeah.
and then go further and go over another bridge.
Mhm.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's like even if it don't matter if you take George the tollway or you still have to cross a big body of water. And last night the water was so windy, it was coming up on the bridge. Like it's not a whole lot, but it's like like right
And
there.
that means it's gonna freeze.
Mm-mm. I was scared. Mm-mm. Jackie, we're not going nowhere. We're gonna
Yeah.
stay right.
So I was on 20 and going to take the bridge over to 35 north. Well, I couldn't do that because they had already blocked that off. So I had to take 35 south, get off, turn around, and then come back. In my mind, I said, just go home. Just go home. So if this happens tonight, um, I'm
Just
being
gonna
here.
go home.
I'm just gonna be at that. I'm calling like, hey, I got time. So that's how we're gonna do that. But in any case, please be very careful whether you live in the DFW, North Texas, wherever you live that there is inclement weather. Please be careful. Use your best judgment. Go slow. I'm quite sure your job and the people that love you would rather you get there, period, than be there on time. So don't rush. If you can, leave with some extra time. But in any case, just be careful and because we want to see you back somewhere, whether it's here or someplace else. So, all right, so let's get on with the show. So, what's going on Al Gore's internet this week that we need to talk about before we get into these stories that we're going to talk about this week?
Um,
Besides the impeachment trial, is that the biggest thing on Al Gore's internet this week?
it really is.
I think that Donald J. Trump
So you call it.
has sunk to a new low, and I didn't think it was possible with Rudy Giuliani. I thought that he has reduced Rudy Giuliani like America's top cop. You know, the guy who brought down the mob, the guy who was the mayor of New York City during 9/11. Um, he ran for all of this. He brought Rudy Giuliani down to a bowl of Jello. Like that's Rudy Giuliani's mind right now. He has a bowl of Jello. But the personal injury lawyer that he put up and had speak for him in this new impeachment trial, y'all. Because every single major law firm, nobody is touching Donald Trump at this point. Everybody is like, no, they have to protect their reputations. It's not worth it. And no one is touching him at this point. And the lawyer that got up there and spoke for about 45 minutes, it was like he was speaking gibberish, like a whole different language.
He was speaking like, when you didn't do your work
Uh,
and you gotta write something and have so many words, like you didn't prepare, so you kind of just talking in a circle.
mm-hmm.
That's how he was speaking.
And just how I'm holding this cup, let me get a bottle of water so I can demonstrate how he was drinking this water. Hold on. Sorry. Well, Water bottle. This man had the he put his hand on his head and he was drinking. I was like, does he have a headache?
He might did.
What is he doing? Like,
Probably.
you remember there was like a press conference and Donald Trump was like this, drinking the water, like,
Yes.
Yeah, he always drinks like that.
and it was a square bottle. It was a Fiji bottle of water. It wasn't gonna go anywhere. You can easily grip that bottle. I don't understand. In any case, even though this guy is a blithering idiot up there, like Brand, like you said the other day, they're probably gonna exonerate him anyway.
No, they are. It's not no probably. They are. And the thing is, the Dems have set out a excellent case. I mean, they have his own words. They have video. They have testimony from people who were there. They've even used the words of other Republican senators. Testimony from people like janitors and just auxiliary staff and food workers and everything. They've set it up where it's just undeniable. And tomorrow, Trump's people are supposed to present their case, but they've done such a great job setting it up and the videos and everything. And I'm like, this is just a waste of time. Like, I'm watching this, but I'm like, why am I watching this? Because it's going to be a waste of time. He's not going to be charged, or the Republicans are not going to cross over regardless. Like I said, he could shoot somebody
in front of them,
close range, and they'll find a way to blame the victim.
Yeah, because
he done that, but
they showed video that had not previously been shown. They showed video where Eugene, what was the cop's name? The black cop. His name was Eugene something McCall.
I don't remember his name, but
brother Eugene. He had walked. Mitt Romney was going towards the crowd. He turned around and got him because they were like right on him. Like Mitt Romney didn't know how close he was to these people getting him. And so they're showing these people, but apparently Ted Cruz, Rick Stevens, I think that's his name, from Florida, Rand Paul, as they're watching the video, they turn away and like avert their eyes so they don't have to see it.
Wow.
Like,
they're doing crossword puzzles today. There was 12 people missing. I mean, one, I forgot which senator, but he had a map of Asia out filling in the countries. Like,
so basically, Sean, I really don't care. I'm just here because I need to be present, and it doesn't matter what you say. I'm gonna vote.
Yep.
How much?
In Fox News, you know how other stations are showing in their entirety the case. Fox News is cutting away, interviewing people, because I know they don't want people to hear and see the videos. They don't want them to hear and see the testimony on Fox News. So
right.
I'm not surprised that they're cutting away and not, showing the testimony or whatever. I'm not surprised.
Of course. And there was, interestingly enough, there is because they're saying that, Trump didn't tell the people to do this or whatever, but they showed an image of the pings, the cell phone pings at the Trump rally, and then how the progression of those same cell phones that were at this Trump rally, the progression of them towards the Capitol, from the White House where it started at, towards the Capitol, at the beginning of the insurrection. So they're like, yes, you can see that these people's talking to them. And then these same people migrated, rushed right over to the Capitol. So yes, he did incite this. So,
well, a lot of the people who have been charged have already said, my president told me to go. I was doing what the president told us to do. Like, we didn't think we would get in trouble because the president told us that we needed to go, we needed to do.
And clearly we have video of him saying without saying, go ahead and do this.
But that's your excuse, but I don't know. I'm just saying nobody could get me to go down there and act a fool like that. Like, Martin Luther King can rise from the grave and say, people, go to the Capitol, tear that ish up, and I'm gonna be looking like Martin. Like I ain't
You
touching that.
really just try to do Martin's voice, though?
Yeah, it's the Martin's voice.
People.
I'm just saying, I'm not going up there telling up no folks stuff because when I get shot or whatever, I ain't gonna be able to say so and so told me to go and
Right,
do this.
because they're not responsible for you.
I'm
And
not gonna get no organic food. I'm not gonna, they're not gonna let me out. I'm gonna just be up in that mug. So
we got people who have been fighting for years, vegans in prison, normal people fighting for fair treatment and nutritious food in prisons for
Hmm.
decades.
Yes.
This one guy says that I need organic food, so you move him to a prison to where he can get that.
and now he's one of the people saying, well, Trump told us to go down there and do this. He's one of
Yeah.
That's his defense.
And one guy, there's a guy who's asking, can he go to Peru so that he can get married? Sir, you're not coming back. Don't do that.
They've lifted quite a few of people who have the no flight bans, so they can go to vacations and they can go to weddings they have planned. They did quite a few of those.
Privilege. And then the one black guy.
He's still in jail sitting.
But listen, I ain't got no sympathy for Bray. Not at all. Not at all. We ain't marching. We ain't signing no petition. You get what you get. Okay.
He ain't even invited. Well, he ain't gonna be able to come to the cookout anyway, even though he ain't invited because they ain't letting him out.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So you sit there because you want us to be a part of the club, but you're the one who pays it, and that's somebody should have told you that.
I mean, was today's testimony where they were talking about how people were hiding and the janitor was hiding in a closet and he didn't know by himself. He didn't know what was going on. And how after the insurrection, how everybody is traumatized and broken up in fear, and these janitors had to go and clean up the glass, the feces, the mess while they're the same day
going through what they're going through.
Right.
Thought thinking that they're gonna die, or called racial slurs and traitors and all this stuff, and they still have to go back and clean up this mess.
You're making the victims clean up their own crime scene.
Pretty much.
What these people made so that the senators could come back in to finish the count. Like, that really got me, because I'm like, I would have been like, F this out.
I gotta go.
I'm nothing. I'm going home and I'm quitting.
And I'm suing y'all. I'm suing the Capitol Police.
One lady did quit.
The government, everything.
I'm coming back.
I'm suing y'all because I can't.
These are the officers who turned their guns in because they were too afraid of what they were going to do to themselves.
That's crazy. This is crazy. I just think that for those senators and congressmen and public officials who not only condone this, but continue to sit by and not speak out and not do the right thing, that they should be held responsible for doing nothing. Who I want to say, I'm gonna mess. I think it's William Burke who had a quote about the destruction that happens when good men do nothing. I don't know the exact quote, but something along those lines. Basically, when good men do nothing, this is what happens. When we sit back and we're neutral, neutrality is as bad, is probably worse than negative action. Because with negative action, you can see your enemy. With neutrality, you just have those people who are like, I don't want to be involved. Well, you need to be involved because it still affects you. You have those people who are neutral have the power to sway one way or another. And most of the time, people who are neutral sit with the enemy, sit with the negatives, because that's where that's what happens. It never sways in the other direction. So those who are just sitting by and not doing anything, you're just as responsible for those who incited the insurrection and had those words. So that's that. And we'll see what happens. We won't be surprised at all with a not guilty because that's what they've been doing. So that's just the way it goes here. All right, well, let's see what we're gonna talk about today. Now, one thing that we did see that we're gonna talk about, two things that we're gonna talk about today. One is a case out of Mississippi where a stepmom is given life without parole for capital murder of a 14-month-old baby. That is going to be our token crime story for this week. Because there's not a lot of information on it, but it was on Instagram and it was very interesting. So we're going to talk about that. The other thing we're going to talk about, which is in the news right now, and the reason why we're going to talk about it is because it is Black History Month and it involves hair and how it affects Black women and what we do for our hair. And that is talking about the Gorilla Glue lady who put the Gorilla Glue on her hair and left it on there for a month. So we're going to get to that because that brings up a lot. It's triggering in a lot of ways. And so since it's Black History Month, that's what we're going to talk about. But let's start talking about the story out of Mississippi. So on the Neighborhood Talk, and I'm going to give them credit for putting this up there on Instagram. This lady's name, she starts off with, this is, her friend is posting this to Instagram, but is using her words. Her name is Takaya Beverly. And she says, I am Takaya Beverly, and I was a devoted mother, wife, daughter, sister, aunt, nurse, and much more up until I was wrongfully convicted and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. And then it says, here's my story retold by my friend. Basically what happens, and I posted this to our page at Black Coffee and Crime on Instagram. Basically what happens, Takaya is married and she's newly married. She finds out that her husband has a baby that was conceived prior to them getting married. But of course that meant that they were engaged. So they were a couple. She proactively reaches out to the child's mother and it's like, we should co-parent and blah, blah, blah. So they set up this co-parenting thing. At some point, it gets a little bit shaky with the co-parenting thing. So instead of Takaya always having access to the child and, basically being the second mother, it goes to where she's only able to see the child when the father is present.
Yeah.
And this happened in 2017. She was convicted in 2020, but the incident happened in 2017. So at one point, she says she gets a call from the husband's cousin to say that the baby, I don't want to mispronounce this baby's name, Jariah. The baby Jariah is not to respond, like she's sick, she won't calm down, blah blah blah. So she runs over to the cousin's house and she's trying to figure out how the cousin, in her story on Instagram, how the cousin gets possession of the baby. She gets there, something's wrong with the baby, they call the ambulance, the baby goes to the hospital, baby dies 2 days later. However, in the news articles, US News, and there's a few more, there's no mention of that baby being in the cousin's possession. What the news articles say is that the child's mother left the baby with the husband, baby daddy. She comes home from work. The baby is in the bed, unresponsive. She calls the ambulance. They come get the baby. And 2 days later, the baby dies. The medical examiner says that baby died instantly from severe blunt force trauma, and this child was 14 months old. There's no mention in 4 articles, which in these articles, I must say, they're almost verbatim. One of them comes from the Associated Press. They pretty much say the same thing, which is almost nothing. There's almost no detail given. But what they do say is that the baby was in the father's possession, and the blunt force trauma. The mom comes home to an unresponsive baby. They arrest the dad 2 days after the baby dies. Then they arrest the stepmom, Takaya. They arrest her. And but they say they make mention of no other people having possession of this child in these articles. So I don't know how true this is. Um, but get this. One, Takaya, the stepmom, is tried and convicted this past fall in 2020. The father of the child has not even gone to trial yet. He hasn't even gone to trial, which is crazy because he was arrested first and he's the actual father of the child. He has not gone to trial. Takaya was convicted of a capital murder charge.
Yep.
She barely missed them giving her the death penalty, like by the skin of her teeth. And y'all, this is Mississippi. Sis ain't getting out of jail. I'm gonna tell you now. Sis ain't getting out of jail. This is the same state that tried a man, I believe his last name was Flowers, tried a man 6 times for the same crime with the same prosecutor. 6 times.
Oh yeah.
6 times. I do believe his last name was Flowers. Of like a robbery, murder of some lady. They tried him 6 times for the same murder. This is in Mississippi. This is also the state where the girl, last name Chambers, it's been all over like Lifetime and Oxygen, where she got burned up in that car and she said a name like Justin or something, Derek, Justin or whatever. And then they arrest a black guy whose name is not Justin or Derek. You guys know what story I'm talking about?
No, but shit.
It's all over Oxygen. I think her name is Jessica Chambers, where she, in a small town in Mississippi, she somehow gets burned up in a car. She says a name like Justin or Derek or something. They arrest this young man, whose name is not Derek. Or it wasn't the name that Eric or Derek, wasn't the name that she uttered out. But they arrest him. There's no physical evidence that puts him in that car with her at that time. They try him 2 times. It's a mistrial, but they try him twice. But there's no physical evidence that puts him there, other than they saw he was with her earlier that day. Now he is on trial for another murder in Louisiana, but that doesn't mean that he committed that one. But again, this is Mississippi. This is y'all don't understand how much Mississippi scares me.
It's very scary.
Mississippi to me is the most. I don't want to disparage anybody from Mississippi, but I'm telling you, the place scares me. Has always scared me. It gives me the worst vibe. Even when I was a child going cross country to Alabama with my family, I would lay down in the car, on the back seat of the car, the entire ride through Mississippi. I would never get out of the car in that state, ever, because it scared me.
Yeah, that was when we were going to Florida. We drove there, and we stopped. We were going to stop in Mississippi, and we stopped at that corner store. The looks that we got was to where we literally were like, you know what, we'll risk it. Like, we just gonna keep going.
Yes.
It was the scariest. They looked at us like, okay, call in everybody so we can do this lynching. Like, it's time to do the lynching. We found some people.
I mean, sundown towns, but Mississippi is like a sundown state.
Alabama. So those same looks, I've gotten them in Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah, Alabama too. Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about Coleman, Alabama before. I was traveling. Brandy and I were on our way to Birmingham and back on a day trip, and she said, "Drive the speed limit. Do the speed limit." We're on the highway. What was it? 65? Was it 65 going through there, Brand?
I don't remember what it was. If it was 32.
But she tells me
32.
Drive the speed limit. And I'm like, why? She said, because we're going through Coleman. Drive the speed limit. It's one of those towns that if you know, you know. You do not get off in Coleman. You don't have any car trouble in Coleman. You keep going. It is a true sundown town, meaning that if you are Black, get your ass out before the sun goes down. Mississippi gives me, the whole state of Mississippi gives me that vibe.
Yes.
As if nothing has changed. And I know that there's millions of Black people in that state, and I suggest all y'all get out. just move, just move. Um, but it gives me that vibe. So this lady, I don't know the truth of the case and the story because that literally there aren't a lot of details. One of the stories that is on the this is the Vicksburg Post out of Miss Vicksburg, Mississippi. Um, let's see here. The father of the child is Morris Beverly, and he was scheduled to um, stand trial, but that didn't happen. And this story was published February 4th of 2021. So that was like 2 weeks, like last week. So he was scheduled to be on trial like right now, but it's been rescheduled with no real date in mind. But basically, there's no details about what happened, like no timeline, um, anything like that. Anything. So there's really no detail besides what Miss Morris gives in her Instagram story. Let me see if there's anything that she says.
I mean, they definitely know something happened, and I think they're fully aware of what happened. I think both of them are. I think
Absolutely.
they know what's happening, and even though she could be covering for her husband, because the impression I gave when she speaks on Instagram is how much she really, 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 really,
Loves
really,
her husband.
really loves her husband. So she could be covering for him. She could be, but they know what happened. And
Yep.
for them to sit there and keep acting like they don't understand, or we just walked in and she
Yeah.
was no, come on,
And
come on,
she coincidentally enough, Mrs. Morris was pregnant when she found out
yes,
that her husband had this baby. And she says, "Life was beautiful." This is from the Instagram story. "Life was beautiful. I was a successful nurse. My husband was an educator, and we had two gorgeous girls to raise. Then our world crashed the weekend of October 20th, 2017." And this is what she says about the cousin. "Friday night while Morris was coaching, I was home with our daughter, so their daughter. I randomly received a call from Danielle. Danielle is Morris's cousin. We grew blah blah blah. She says Danielle told me that Jariah was crying nonstop and that she couldn't get her to calm down. I told her to put Jariah on the phone. Jariah is 14 months old.
yeah,
Just want to point that out. She said I'm paraphrasing here. She says Danielle and I went on to talk a little. I was confused on why she'd even gotten Jariah. Um, and then she says she shared, Danielle, that she met with the bio mom who dropped Jay off with her. And then Point Gordon, or wherever they're from, Port Gordon is about 20 to 30 minutes from Vicksburg. So she says in her Instagram story, written by her friend in her words, that the baby was in the possession of Mr. Morris's cousin Danielle, and she did not know why the baby was with her in the first place, and that Jariah wouldn't stop crying. But here's a couple of conundrums I got for y'all. If the biological mother dropped the child off with Mr. Morris's cousin, why is the cousin calling the wife and not the mother if the baby won't stop crying?
all right. That was one of the things I was like, okay, well then what she call you for?
Why is she calling you? You're not
And
the child's
the thing, I
mom.
was like, I thought Jariah was only 14 months. Why is she talking about her like
Why
she
is she
like
telling her to put her on the
6?
phone?
Five or
Well,
6?
babies
Come
now,
on.
like my niece knows when I call. Like when the phone is ringing, she's looking.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I mean, sometimes it's the sound of someone's voice,
Right.
but the mother's voice. I don't know
That's
about the
Sue's.
mother's voice.
And I mean, in the Instagram story, it does say that they were close and that she embraced this child from the very beginning. I mean, she really lays out her story, and she embraced the child from the very beginning, and she decided that they were all going to be like one big happy family, and then there was
So
this
is she
baby.
saying the cousin did it or what?
She didn't say. She just said she didn't do it. That she was wrongly convicted. She doesn't really accuse anyone else. She just says that she's wrongfully convicted of this crime. I was just very
And she was
curious.
trying to say like the daughter went through some kind of trauma before they got her. That's what I did. Like she was trying to say while they were with the cousin, she went
This
through the trauma.
happened. I don't know. The baby
Got
was in the hospital. I went over there, and there's that. That's that. Like the baby wasn't with me when she started to be in distress. But this wasn't necessarily, according to the medical examiner, distress. This was trauma to this child. A 14-month-old baby is still very small. I have, like Brandy, you have a new niece that's almost a year old. I have a niece who is uh, 14 months old, and she's walking and she's talking. And like you said, Brandy, when I call and we're on FaceTime, like she's right here, but and her mom is like, she's bad, you need to come get her. And I'm talking to her like, you need to stop, quit terrorizing your mom. However, if someone else is babysitting that child, why would they call me and say, Brandy, the baby won't stop crying? And I'm gonna be like, well, why don't you call her mom? Like, why are you calling me? Like, am I the first person you call? Nobody, no one else answered the phone? Because you have a father who is the babysitter's cousin and the bio mom, who apparently y'all are close enough
to where she dropped the baby off.
Comfortable dropping the baby off. And let me tell you why she felt close enough. Plot twist. Mr. Morris used to live in Chicago, right? The baby mother also lived in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
She followed Mr. Morris to Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
So they have been involved for a very long time. And Mr. Morris is also under investigation for the death of the bio mom's other child, a little boy 2 years prior to this, who died under very similar circumstances in his care. The child was in his care. I think the baby was a year old, and he also died. So he's also under investigation for that. So here's my thing. If my child dies in your possession and you're under investigation, why am I going to lay up with you and have another baby? And why am I going to put that child in your care again? Why am I trusting that? Y'all.
And then why am I following you? I'm sorry.
I followed you to Mississippi.
It's just like, you be like, girl, what the?
I followed you to Mississippi so you could marry somebody else.
You literally are in investigation for murdering or
my child, for the wrongful death of my child.
Of my child. I don't even want to look. I don't want to see.
And I get pregnant
I think I'm gonna think anger. So why would I be comfortable enough
to do it again?
To just lay up with you like nothing happening, like you not under investigation, like this did not happen, like how could I just, as a mother, I
listen. Let me tell y'all.
I don't understand. Don't get it.
The love. This is Valentine's month.
Yeah.
Valentine's week. There's not that much love a man can give you that should cancel out the responsibility that you have to your children. I know that the good book says that you cleave to your husband, you cleave to your wife, and it's you and then your kids. However, you still have a responsibility to protect those children at all costs. And so
that was her husband.
Right. But when it comes to your kids, even if it is your husband or whatever, when it comes to your children and the protection of those children, if there's harm, you have the responsibility to protect them no matter what. Throw those vows in the trash, because the moment that they hurt your children, they're hurting you, because that is your issue. Those children were issued from your body. So that means your vows ain't worth shit, because you didn't honor me, because you didn't honor my kids.
Right.
What? Y'all cannot be so starved for love, attention, and validation that.
And it's common. It's so common.
We see I know all the time where women.
I know personal stories, like people I really knew whose boyfriends are like literally have been beating on their children,
and they're still
for years, and they stay with them. Are you serious, boy? Like, what? What do you know? Don't say you don't. You know.
Sneeze at my kid wrong.
But would be. Child. Excuse me? I just
these women leave, and I say these women, and I'm listen.
Yeah.
I'm not in a situation. I've never put myself in a situation to where my child was with someone that she did not know and that I didn't trust implicitly. You meet this guy, you bring this guy over to your house within a week, with these small babies in your house.
Mm.
You don't know that dude. You don't know none of his history. You don't know what he did with his kids. You don't know what he did with the neighborhood kids. You don't know nothing about this dude, his anger issues, if he's on drugs. You know nothing. But you brought them to your house. You bring them into their lives. They playing around or what, flipping around, and you're like, oh, but these are boys. And that's a common thing. Oh, men mess with boys too. You don't know. You don't know if he has PTSD. You don't know if he's schizophrenic. You don't know if he's bipolar. You don't know if he's off drugs. Anything. And then you say, well, he was babysitting. The little girl, and we spent way too much time on this subject, but the little girl from Houston, who the mom, the 3-year-old, the mom
Yes.
left to go to a funeral and left that baby with who had just gotten out of the hospital with a brain injury, with the boyfriend who caused the brain injury.
Isn't that something?
Because you had to go to a funeral. Bitch, and now your child's dead. And you got the entire nation looking for your child and sympathizing with you. And the whole time you left that child with that man.
Mm-hmm. And he killed her immediately after you left.
Killed her as soon as you left.
Mm-hmm. Sick.
And you defended him. Girl. You need to be stoned. They need to, after they finish stoning him, they need to pick up the same rocks and throw them at your ass.
Yep.
Same rocks.
And we don't even want to talk about the ones who hired the kid with the boyfriend after he done killed him. We don't even want to talk about them because what was that story? Wasn't it one recently? The boyfriend and the girlfriend got on TV and they was like crying.
It happens so much. We don't even know what story's which.
Yeah, I don't even know. I just remember I remember his face being on TV crying, saying, "Can you just bring her back?" And the whole time.
I think it was him. I think that's the one.
Is that them?
The little girl, she ended up in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's them.
Yeah, and he said that some Mexican guy
TV.
kidnapped about it. Listen, I'm quite sure that with this story, I'm going to keep looking for stuff on this story because this cannot be it. Because she was convicted of capital murder, not murder 1, not murder 2, not manslaughter, capital murder. So what that means is there's an enhancement to that murder charge. She did something else in the commission of this murder. But unfortunately, there's no detail about that. But
and she need to tell it.
Yes, since we saw it on Instagram.
Just tell on him.
So,
that love ain't that deep. Tell on him. You got a baby.
Obviously, he ain't loyal to you because he brought his girlfriend from Chicago to be with him and probably set her up in an apartment somewhere and was with her while he was with you, got her pregnant, and now y'all baby that's still alive ain't got no parents.
Tell it.
So he not that loyal.
I'm singing.
So, quit being loyal to a man who don't give a damn about you.
Nope.
Happy Valentine's Day to Takia, because that's all he gonna say them stupid letters with he gonna have a cellmate give him 2 cigarettes or something and have them stupid ass Mickey Mouses on the side of your damn envelope.
A Rose and Mickey Mouse, baby.
Yeah.
Them that Rose and Mickey Mouse.
As you can tell, I'm a little bitter about that. So your man's Mickey Mouse. All right, so let's talk about the thing that is on everybody's lips right now. Gorilla Glue lady. Okay.
That's the response right there. You see it? That was it.
First impressions when you heard about the story. What were your first impressions?
What the hell?
Pretty your face.
When I saw it on TikTok before that video hit, it was like I think they had literally posted a video like an hour.
Uh-huh.
And I remember thinking, this is a joke.
Did I tap you on that?
This is a joke. There is no way she was stupid enough. That's what I thought. There's no way she was stupid enough and did this.
I mean,
this
she
is a
touches her hair and it is shellacked down to her scalp. So I'm thinking she's playing. She really didn't put Gorilla Glue on her hair because she had her spray bottle. And if you're living under a rock, you don't know this. But she ran out of Gotta Be spray glue for her ponytail. So she's like, I decided to use this right here. And she puts up a can of Gorilla Glue spray adhesive. Now, if you have Gorilla Glue
Hold
in
up.
regular
The
liquid,
original spray she had, was it the yellow bottle? Got to be?
yes, and she said she ran out, so
Okay.
she decided to use
Not Gorilla Snot, because
not
you know
Gorilla
it's not.
Snot. She said Gorilla Glue, and so she holds up that orange can with Gorilla on it, and it says Super Spray Adhesive. Now, the regular Gorilla Glue that you use, I've used it on furniture, and it don't move. I've got it on my fingers, and it stays on my fingers forever, like it doesn't come off. So she uses it on her ponytail, and she tries to wash her hair. She said 50 in the video. She said 15 times, and it doesn't come off. And it was on her hair for a month, and her hair did not move an inch in a month. No new growth, and you know your hair grows in a month. And that's when she starts to panic, because that's when she did the video.
I can't fix my face because it just don't make sense to me. You had to go underneath your sink or in your utility closet or something to get that glue. And you looked at it and it said water
Gorilla
resistant
adhesive glue.
adhesive for wood and such, and you said
Wood, glass, concrete, non-porous surfaces. Do not use on skin. I don't know if y'all don't know this, but your scalp is skin. And if you put something on your hair, not the bottom of your hair like this, or Brandy's hair, or the bottom of Jackie's hair, but you put something close to your scalp, it is going to, if I spray Gorilla Glue just right here on the top, like this on my hair right now, it is going to seep into my skin. And these locks will adhere to my skin, my scalp, and they will not come off. So she's saying that she wanted to sue the makers of Gorilla Glue because it didn't include "do not put on your hair." It wasn't inclusive of those words, and there was no reasonable deniability or whatever the legal term is about whether or not you should use that on your hair. Here's the thing: common sense, y'all. Common sense. Another thing, Gorilla Snot has a cartoonish gorilla on it, and it's found in the hair care, health and beauty section of the store. If you're thinking about, let's just put Walmart in. If you buy your hair care products from Walmart, health and beauty is like the whole side of the store. You have to go to hardware to get Gorilla Glue. Okay? Not Elmer's glue. And at first I was thinking maybe she thought it would be the same as Elmer's glue because it's not, Elmer's glue is non-toxic, and we use it in ways that we probably shouldn't use it, but it really is not that harmful to us.
I've never used, the only thing that I've done with Elmer's glue that I wasn't supposed to do is put it on my hands when I was in the 3rd grade and peel it off.
Peel it off.
Right? Now I will say, I won't lie, I've used Elmer's glue in a charcoal mask. And if anyone who's ever did that, you already know that when that mask dries on your face, it's like peeling duct tape off your face. Now your skin is smooth probably because you just peeled 16 layers off of it with that. But you can easily just apply water and it dissolves and it comes off.
It also says non-toxic too.
It says it's non-toxic because it will get on your hands, and it is made for children. I would not use Elmer's wood glue because it says wood. I would not use Gorilla Glue in substitute because it's Gorilla Glue. And it's on the other side of the store. And like Randy said, you don't keep Gorilla Glue in your bathroom cabinet or where you keep your hair care products or your personal products. It's in a utility room, the bathroom, places where you crafts, section, bucket that you have, places where
She's a teacher.
And she's a kindergarten teacher, y'all. Distant world, y'all.
Teacher. I used to be a kindergarten teacher, and I know dang on well the difference. But you as a teacher anyway, you have to learn how to separate toxic from non-toxic. because you got to keep all this different cleaning stuff in your room. So you naturally know this. It's clout. Yeah, it's clout. It's clout.
So your face, Jackie. She's suing them. She had a GoFundMe. Started. I don't know why people started GoFundMe for this chick, or she started. I don't know who started it.
He started it.
Really into they really felt bad for her, because the struggles we have with our hair. Like, they was feeling bad for her. They didn't know if she had, would have to have these medical bills from going to the emergency room and all this stuff. And,
she to GoFundMe for a wig. She started
she was going to use the money.
She said for wigs. When I get this out, I got to GoFundMe.
Then people started feeling sorry. Then people started feeling sorry for her and like, let's help her. They were putting the money in there, but technically
she was gonna be bald headed.
Yeah.
But she ended up getting. There was a doctor in California who ended up coming up with his own concoction of olive oil and medical grade adhesive remover and a little bit of acetone and something else, and he gets it off. And this girl gonna say that she wished she didn't cut her ponytail off so soon so she could have a little bit more hair, but she's about to go get her hair done for Valentine's Day. If my head had been stuck for a month under some toxic glue, my first thing is not going to be, I'm going to get my hair done. Your scalp
is on fire.
Hasn't breathed for 30 some days.
It's clout.
And then on top of that, you put one of the harshest removers or strippers in your hair.
She had to be put to sleep. She was laid out on the surgical
under anesthesia.
On the surgical table. Your man been seeing you looking like that with that shellac ponytail for a month. He will be okay if you let your little bit of hair breathe.
Baby, she got that hair out and saw that GoFundMe was at a couple 100,000. I mean, a couple 10,000. But she was ready to spend that money. That's what she's ready to do.
My thing is,
they already verified on Instagram.
Yes, and she said this is all. She made a comment. Made a comment about this is all I had to do to get 400 to get a blue check and 400,000 followers. Sis, and then you are not helping your legal case right now.
Every post she makes, she will get paid for it. At this point, it was genius. It was a business move that she was willing to take. Now it's kind of stupid to put adhesive glue on your hair. She already kind of knew probably was going to happen, which is why she didn't have a problem setting up that GoFundMe to get that wig. That's why it was that big.
Set it up. Some outside person set it up for her.
Well, better yet, she still got lucky. At the end of the day, you can't convince me otherwise that she did not know what she was doing, that this wasn't a something to just flare up. If you're a smart business person, once you figure out that all you have to do is take care of
Jackie. She might not. The woman just had the stuff taken out of her head. She was laid out on the table. She talking about she gonna get her hair done.
Well, to her, it's stupid. We looking at it like it's stupid. We looking at it that way.
But it's also vanity and hubris. She's so vain that she would do this to put that on her hair so she would not have anything out of place. Jackie and I were talking before we started about the amount of hair gel that I still possess. Now, I've had locks for I think 3 years now. I still have under the bathroom sink, the downstairs bathroom sink, the industrial size Eco Style.
Yes, my friend.
Upstairs bathroom under the sink. There are at least 4 different varieties from olive oil, black seed oil, aloe, and the original Eco Style. And then in the hall closet, which is like the Jenny Beauty Supply, I still have at least 3 or 4 more Eco Stylers and some other designer gels. Because if I want to put some, clean up these edges or whatever, I can do that. You can't tell me that Black women don't have an abundance of leftover hair gel. And if she already had product in her hair, all she would have had to do was take a spray bottle, spray her hair. She's already using that gotta be glue, spray glue. Spray her hair down and tie her hair down and go about your business until you can get some more spray.
Right.
We cannot be so vain that we are willing to harm ourselves.
Is it vain, or is it because we have been told our whole life that our hair is not acceptable?
That's not her case.
I don't think that's her case, B, because
That's not her case.
I don't think that's the case.
If you use
that our hair has to be perfect and we can't be going out half time. You know how important our hair is.
It is, and that's why we're talking about this. Because this is Black History Month, so we need, this fell
And
right.
that's also part of the reason why she's rushing to get her hair done after she just laid on the table. Like, she can't be out here looking unpresentable with her hair looking crazy.
We still have to say that that's vanity. We still have to say that is vanity. When we go get those BBLs and we go and have someone inject our butts with silicone in a parking lot, in a grocery store parking lot. We bent over in the back seat of the grocery store parking lot, having somebody insert a needle into our thighs and our butts so we can have a big butt. That is vanity. Unfortunately, that is a disease and a sickness that society has told us that we have to have a certain kind of body if you're Black girl. You gotta have a big butt if you're Black girl. You gotta have, and like you said, Brandy, yes, that is a social disease that, yes, Black women have to have their hair together all the time. But in 2020 and in 2021, you cannot tell me that we cannot accept ourselves and our hair the way that it is, in the way that we want.
There's a lot of people who don't accept their hair. It doesn't matter what year it is. Some folks can't go to work with their hair like yours, or they won't be able to keep their job. They had to have presentable hair, or they can't keep their job. I mean, hair is just still, it doesn't matter if it was the 1800s and they was telling us to cover our hair in the fields, or if it's 2021 and we can't wear our kinky hair and we have to get it relaxed and straightened or whatever to meet beauty standards or basic, to not look unkempt and to have I don't know what word I'm looking for, but orderly hair like everybody else that doesn't make you stand apart. I mean, I don't really understand it because I'm not looking at it as a white person. I don't know what white people are seeing when they see our hair in its natural state. Matter of fact, how it grows out of our head. I don't know what they're thinking of why our hair cannot be natural. Like, what of a threat it is that my hair grows out nappy and I want to wear my hair the way it grows out. I don't know what they're thinking. But even in 2021, there's people that are still fighting that fight of going to work and looking normal and not putting heat on your hair or putting some kind of chemical in your hair. I mean, I remember getting perms and sitting and been burnt to hell. And I'm not getting up. I don't care how much my hair was on fire. I'm not getting up because I want my edges laid. Everything laid. I would have scabs in my scalp afterward. When she sprayed that hairspray on there, I felt like jumping out that seat.
You know what's crazy? I just watched that movie Bad Hair. I don't know if y'all seen it. It's like a horror satirical comedy. I just watched that like 2 days ago. And I was like, that's ironic that we're talking about Terica. What is her name? Terica?
Mm-hmm.
Terica.
But this don't apply to Terica though.
No. But it was just ironic that that I saw the movie and then she's going through this, or she put herself through this, and then everyone's having a conversation about Black women and historically what we do with our hair and our struggle with our hair, and if that applies to what she's going through now applies to the struggle that we go through every day with this crown. It's just sad, regardless of why she did it. And I just don't think that. I don't think that this was an accident. I don't think she did this by accident. I think she did it on purpose. Why she did it on purpose, I don't know. But I know that She did not look at that Gorilla Glue and say, "This is safe for me." She looked at it and said, "I'm gonna take a calculated risk because I want these edges to look down." And maybe she thought it's gonna wash out in a few days, but it didn't,
Right.
and
That's what I.
it didn't move. And you think that it's gonna loosen up, and it didn't.
I mean,
And
that
That's what.
stuff was shellacked. Even
shellac,
had little baby hair parts.
girl, it was there for the
You know how
ages.
she,
Did you hear me?
which I,
She could
which I
wear a
don't
head.
know how
She
she was
could
able
wear a
to.
scarf to bed. She didn't
She
have to.
couldn't. She couldn't accomplish those baby hairs with adhesive glue. That had to be something that was done with regular gel, and then the glue set on top of that
How
because
many,
adhesive glue freezes immediately.
how many
So
passes did she make with that glue?
think that's maybe what I need to say. How
Well,
many?
maybe she used the got to be to do that, and then she didn't have enough to, and so she finished it off with that. I don't know, because
Even
I
the
can't think of
spray,
what
even
stupidity is going to make them do. Because
yeah,
I would be digging through my stuff, like asking the boys, do they got Gorilla Glue? Because I need to shellac my ponytail.
right. See, Jamari, my daughter, wears a lot of wigs, and Godspeed glue is a staple.
Mhm.
The spray, the free spray, and I can tell you that you can't do nothing. Like once you spray it, that's it. It's
We
on
were
it.
talking about, remember back in the day, and if you were a 90s kid, you know about those freeze hairstyles? And then once
Yeah.
you got the freeze, like your hair didn't move for 2 weeks until you washed it out at the salon. Even then, it was
You,
an
you took
abundance
it
of
out, it was
help.
still stuck. When you took the bobby pins out, it was
And it was
still.
still in,
Yep.
and your bobby pins used to be in your hair, like
Yeah.
glued to your hair. Like you just couldn't just go in there and take the pin out. Like you had to manipulate a little bit. Maybe you
Oh,
put
spritz.
some pink oil moisturizer spray in there to loosen that
Mhm.
up a little bit, and at least to get something to your scalp so that your hair wouldn't be dry. So I cannot imagine the trauma that she. Because listen,
And
when
what
I
if her
used
head
to get,
started itching? Can you imagine your head itching under that?
you can literally can't get to it.
There ain't enough
You can't
padding
feel
to get.
it. I used to get braids, and it seemed
Yeah.
like as soon as I got braids, my hair would start itching.
I'm saying, I don't know if y'all noticed because I be they
You know,
itch.
and you really can't scratch your scalp too much because, especially when you have a tight hairstyle, because you're already irritating your scalp by the pulling, and then you're further irritating by the constant scratching. But just imagine the torture that she went through. That her it has to itch. And she
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get to
I
it.
remember one time, this white girl came to me and asked. She was like, I never understood why black girls hit their head like that. I never understood. But she ended up going on a cruise, and when one of the black uh Caribbean uh
You get those
countries,
braids.
and she got those braids, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Brandy, I understand. I never knew why black girls hit their head. I understand now why you guys hit your head." And I'm thinking, I'm like, but it probably was wondering why some girls sitting around. You see a whole bunch of girls going around doing this.
Mm-hmm. That's mine do.
It gets crucial sometimes. It gets crucial.
It does, and remember we used to carry around the little rat tail comb to get in those the good spots. So I mean,
Yeah.
we do go through a lot for our hair in the name of our hair care. Like I said, I have,
Thinking like this.
so you wouldn't mess up that new hairdo, and because your hair was pulling tight, we used to get your neck where your neck would move. I mean,
With
we
that
do
whole pink roller on picture day.
right here, and you have to roll the bangs right. So we go through a lot of stuff in the name of black hair, but this case is just so out there, y'all.
It took me a long time to.
Find a way to get it out. I'm happy for that. I actually really think
Yeah.
people are stupid and they do stupid things, and she didn't think that through. I
Right.
don't think that she just purposely did it. I think she was just stupid.
Yeah, she did
And
I
something.
think she purposely did it, but then she didn't realize that it was going to be that bad. That's
Right.
what I.
Right.
People
And
are
she didn't weigh her
stupid.
consequences out. She didn't weigh
Like,
the consequences.
Yeah, I wouldn't think of doing that, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
But I know there are hundreds, thousands of stupid people.
And I think we get to a point of desperation, um, with our appearance, and like you said, Brandy, whether it's 1850 or 2021, we get to a point of desperation with our appearance. And some of us, a lot of us, have not accepted our skin tones. We are all three
Ooh,
of us
baby.
are dark
It's a
skinned black
challenge. Yeah.
and dark skinned black girls with a certain hair texture, varying hair textures. And I'm quite sure growing up, we have all heard the dark skin jokes. We have all heard the nappy hair jokes. So to be our age, like you said, Brandy, one of your friends, her daughter is 12 years old and she wears her hair natural, and you are in awe of that because at 12 we would not dare to wear our hair in our afro puffs in its natural state because we could not. In high school, we could not. In college, we barely did it. Because we were still under the you got to, even
I
if you're
started
dark
my
skinned,
locks
you
in,
definitely got to have your hair together if you're dark skinned.
I started my locks in college, and there was only one other girl on campus that I knew had locks. But there, as far as hair care products for my locks, and that was trial and error because it really wasn't
There
really
wasn't any
anybody
out there.
rocking their natural hair like that. And I was a person who would get my hair done every 2 weeks,
Hmm.
different styles every 2 weeks,
I remember.
every 2 weeks. And so when I decided, something big happens in your life, breakup or whatever, big
Wow.
change. And so I'm starting my locks, and there wasn't many people at all who was rocking natural hair.
Hmm. Hmm.
Even the girls who ended up, a lot of girls who were in the freshman dorm ended up having to cut their hair because the pipes and stuff were so old that the water just dried our hair out. Even the girls who had to cut their hair, which was half of the female dorm, they still weren't even rocking natural hair. They were rocking, short styles,
Like
you
little
know.
pixie cuts and stuff. Yeah.
So, but
Uh,
that was
uh,
big for me I had never seen my natural texture of hair. I probably got my first perm when I was in kindergarten or something. I was young. I don't really even remember. I couldn't even remember. I didn't know anything about what my natural hair looked like. Didn't know what the texture was like. So it was just like this fear of what is
What's
my
under?
hair going to look like?
What's under?
yeah, I'm proud of my
How am I
daughter.
going to be out here looking?
She's 16. Never. We're not doing cream crack. We're not doing that. So she has no problem rocking her fro, and I love to see her. Those is when I think she's the most beautiful. Is when she decides to take her hair and just take those little bands and just and it throw it out. And me and her have completely different hair texture, and my hair is a little bit more three B ish, kind of really kind of curly. She's more of a four C ish type hair. So I like when she says, Mama, I think I'll wear my own hair. It
It's
makes me feel good. I'll be
And
like, okay.
I would have never, ever,
it
ever,
was.
ever.
It's about validation. It's about validation. Um, like Brandy said, I was that kid who got my hair done every 2 weeks. Even as a small kid, when my grandmother went to the beauty shop, and that's when they would call beauty shops and beautician, not stylist. Beautician wash your hair, condition your hair, and it was just one price. She used the Marcel irons. These stylists don't know how to use no Marcels.
So
But
don't.
I used to get my hair done, and I didn't have a relaxer, but I used to get my hair pressed,
Me too.
and it was you. I had to do all the extra. I was a tomboy, like I was a girly tomboy. Like I wanted to be cute, but I wanted to go play. But when I got my hair done, I couldn't play, and I had to sleep like this. I had to tie my scarf down on my head, no matter what. And if I didn't have a scarf, sometimes I don't know how old school y'all are and how country
Panties.
y'all are, but you're gonna use clean pair of
Panties.
panties on your head. So
Panties.
did that. So if you spent the night at somebody's house, my grandma's house, just go get your panties and put them up there. You know, so all of those things, and even in high school, that's when I started doing my own hair, and I was using a creamy crack because, like I was telling you, Jackie, my edges had to be together when I put my ponytails in, and this is why I can empathize with her a little bit because I could not. I would miss my first period class if my ponytail was not together. Okay, if I had any sort of wave, lump, anything, and my edges wasn't right, could not leave the house. So I get that part, but it never occurred to me to go in the garage to use some spray glue or adhesive that my dad had in there.
You kind of see she's kind of extra because she got them lashes, Like she looks extra.
Girl, I would be
But
so
you're talking
raggedy.
about like
My hair wouldn't move for a month. I'd be so stressed out right now.
you're talking about when you were a teenager or your kid. But me and Brandy laugh about this all the time. If I can't find my headscarf, hey, I ain't sleeping.
She
I
not.
stay up all night looking for a dog tired before I will
Nah,
lay down on
she
my
not.
head without my scarf.
She would be on the phone and be like, I can't find my scarf. I can't sleep. And to, even me, and I got lots. If I fall asleep and I don't have my a bonnet or my scarf, I don't sleep well.
I guess
See, I
because
won't even fall asleep. I'll stay up all
I
night
guess
looking
because
for my scarf.
I've been natural for 8 years now, but now prior to that, I had the same. It had to be perm. It had to be wrapped. I couldn't even think if I don't wrap my hair, and I just can't live. I couldn't survive. But now, since I've been natural for so long, I don't care. I
Girl,
do.
I will stay up half the night looking for that scarf and blame everybody for stealing it.
Yep.
Somebody done came in here and stole my
She's the
scarf.
only female body in her house, and she's like, somebody stole my scarf.
Well,
Somebody stole it. Let me
somebody
ask you this, because we're talking about bonnets and scarves. Brandy, you brought up historically we were made in this country to cover our hair, and that started our shame. When really the reason why we were told to cover our hair was because it was enticing to the white masters, and Miss Anne didn't like that. That's why we were told to cover our hair. So even in its natural state, and it's it could have been anything from silky to 4C. We were told to cover it so that when you cover anything, it connotates shame. Why would you cover that if it was good? So 400 years later, we still have to cover our hair. We cover our hair for protection. We would have done it anyway. But in this country, we were told to do it and it brought shame. But we would have done it on the continent anyway because we want to keep dirt out of our hair. We want to keep mites and whatever bugs or whatever out of our hair on the continent. Now we do it because we still want the protection of our hair. And Brandy, you brought up the fact that she is on the operating table, and one of the first things she says is, I got to get my hair done for Valentine's Day, because maybe she didn't want her significant other to see her with her hair not done. What kind of, even today, what kind of influence do you think that the male gaze still has on what we do with our hair? And what kind of shame we have when we cover, because
we don't do our hair for men. We don't put makeup on for men. We don't pick out outfits for men. We pick it out for women.
But I will say, I have heard
at her hair shellacked down for a month. He'd been looking for the past week, looking at her hair with acetone and everything in it with a cut off ponytail, half cut off ponytail. That man ain't caring about whether her hair is done or not. He just want to stop hearing about her hair.
So you think it's our perception of what men think?
No, some men do. Some men do.
Not as much as
not her man.
The reason why, okay, so maybe men don't care about what we do with our hair, but I've heard the argument before from Black men about when they date outside their race. One of the things that I've heard is Black women, because we have to cover our hair with bonnets. I don't want to see her in a bonnet. I don't want to see. I've heard that.
Yeah. Because some of them do. Some of them don't like that.
I wear my bonnet tonight and look decent in the street tomorrow, or I don't wear my bonnet tonight and look toe up in the street tomorrow.
But I think it's because non-Black women don't have to.
Right.
The perception is that a non-Black woman wakes up and she has these glorious L'Oreal Brazilian blowout locks all the time.
Even the Ingalls wore a bonnet to bed. Laura and Mary.
I don't care for the Ingalls, but yeah, I get your reference.
But that's how we feel about it. That's how
it's our perception.
There are some men who no. They be like, no, you need to. They want you to look a certain way. They want your hair to look a certain way. Yeah, that's not.
I'm gonna tell you what. Am I spending night bag?
It better be a bonnet, no scarf in it.
Who? Or I'm asking you for your do-rag. Like I need.
The first thing I pack. When I pack my like I don't know if many of you know, but I had a kidney transplant, so I take anti-rejection drugs. I pack my anti-rejection drugs and my bonnet before I pack anything else. Charger, phone, clothes, drawers, they gonna have to wait. I gotta pack my medicine and my bonnet because I have bad dreams of going somewhere and I have my medicine and I have it in my bonnet. Nightmares. I cannot sleep without my bonnet. I will stay up all night. I cannot sleep. I won't be able to sleep.
It's a very real thing that
I don't know if it's security or what, but I cannot. It don't matter what style I have. I can have a little fro, like this. Even when my hair was,
afro.
I was putting on a bonnet.
Yeah. When I walk around the house too long, I I'm like, I need to go put my bonnet on because I feel like the moisture is being sucked out of my scalp. So I'm like, I just put some black seed oil up here. I need to go put my bonnet on to protect that. Or if I'm sitting on the couch or whatever, if it's a cloth surface, I feel like that cloth is sucking out
So,
the moisture out of my hair.
take your hands out.
Right, you got to protect your edges. Um, it's
Just-
very
Y'all have to get the
I
changes
hate
I had
that.
in high school.
I put it on sometimes, but I hate that
Girl.
bonnet. It it hurts, making my head big. It hurts right here.
No, girl, the
listen,
best.
you
I
got
got
your bonnet,
Sleep like bonnet
got
sleep.
numbness.
Ain't
like I
no sleep like
numbness
some
bonnet.
bonnet sleep.
Jackie.
Now,
I'm
right
going
there,
to
have
get you
braids.
bonnets. I'm gonna
Because I
get you a
braid, I
bonnet.
am wrapping my hair with a scarf
Mm-mm.
because I got braids.
The band on the bonnet is about 2 to 3 inches wide. So it sits here and it's soft. So it lays on your edges. And then because you have long hair, the bonnet itself is long. My daughter has one. She got it from my aunt. My aunt bought me one. So I
That's what
to get you one.
I am.
Get a silk scarf or a satin scarf and put that on. Listen. Brandy and I have this thing about our high school edges. Okay, because we have a lot of people that went to high school with us who they left their edges back in 1996. Okay, and they
No,
did
they
not.
left the pieces back in 1988.
You know,
1996, they was gone.
yeah, around 93, 94, they was gone when we came from junior high. They was gone. They didn't make the journey. So we're very proud of having our high school edges at this age. Okay, so these are like fossils. They're the same ones.
Does that
Like, you can carbon date my edges. Like you can tell.
I remember Brandon saying to me, "Are you gonna wear your bonnet on your wedding night?" Did you just meet me? Did you just meet me?
I did ask her that, and she did wear her bonnet on. So yeah, she wore her bonnet.
Work around that baby. Work around that baby. Work around.
But it's a very real thing that we still unfortunately carry shame in rocking natural edges. Jackie, your edges are natural. Brandy, your edges are natural. Mine are definitely natural. But most of the time, what we see in the media is everyone has the baby hairs laid down. You very rarely see people with their natural edges out, and I'm like,
even in the natural hair community, some people got called out because they were perming their edges.
so they got house in the front and field at the top.
In the back. Yeah.
Mhm.
I've never permed. I've been natural since '98, and my hair hasn't touched perm of any kind since before '98. So
It's been a good 10 years for me since I've had any sort of chemical besides hair color. And even with my hair color, I try to watch the brands I put in here. I have used bleach in order to get certain tones, but I have locks, so you got to do it if that's what you want. But we still have the shame. Like you said, Brandy, we have people wear beautiful Afro puffs, but their edges, I'm like, you got Florida Evans on the top of your head. Florida Evans up here, but Diane Carroll right here. What is we doing? Like, I'm confused. And I know that we have different hair textures, and yes, we can lay our edges down, and our hair is soft. But really, like, are we still so ashamed that we won't show the kitchen? We're still afraid and ashamed to show this part of us to the world. Like, are we not proud of that?
Well, there
Like,
are
don't show
there's
that.
kids. Kids coming up now. They don't care, but we didn't have that. I wish that I could have done that. Now looking back, because my hair caused so much trauma for
Yeah,
me. People making fun of my hair, the pain of actually, like, the physical pain of making my hair beautiful or whatever.
either the chemicals, the braids. Um,
My mom and my sisters all had long, pretty hair, and I did not have hair like that.
mhm.
Um, the ironic thing is that when I went natural, I had hair longer than all
Oh,
of them. But I didn't have that, and I was the darkest one, and I had the nappy hair, and so you know I
My
had
trauma.
curls, and I was the first child. So everything my mom learned not to do on their hair, she tried
got
on mine.
it. Yeah.
I've had the
Yeah.
curls. I've had the juicy 80 curl. Mine wasn't juicy though. I didn't let it get that juicy. But I've had the perms. I've had the sores in my scalp from the relaxers, and would not let that lady know it was burning to hell. And me, basically, my scalp, to this day, my skin is very sensitive, and I can only imagine when I was doing to my scalp back
And
then.
considering I didn't even have horrible hair, we were using supers, which isn't even supposed to be put on our head. It's not even nowhere near supposed to be put on our heads. And I was using supers, scabs all up in here,
Girl,
just
I was using
in there.
That
chemical
optimum that
treatment.
keeps my
Let
And
me tell you,
I'm like, Randy, I'm not moving. I don't care how bad it hurts. I'm not moving.
because we're
Till this
told that it's
bump-
working when it starts to burn. That's
Mhm.
when we know it's working. But when it starts to burn, it's past. Like, our hair is already fried at that
Yes,
point.
it's already fried.
And I was using. Let me tell you, one of the strongest relaxers on the market was Gentle. Was it Gentle Treatment in the white box?
I use optimum always. I was
I use
optimum.
Optimum.
I did use Optimum, but
That's,
the more that you use a relaxer, you change the texture of your hair.
mhm.
And when you change the texture of your hair, sometimes you have to use stronger products.
Yeah.
And I have really thick hair, so I needed to use stronger. So I used a Gentle Treatment one. Super boy. My hair was laid down, but it was probably because it was so stressed out and traumatized.
And then when
Uh,
they spring it, dead. They're all
like
day. Come in
fire.
about 10 o'clock. Don't leave till about 8.
Yep. Yep.
And you didn't complain because you wanted your hair done.
You wanted your hair done, and we couldn't get the validation that we needed about our hair. Um, we still, like you said, Brandy, I said in 2020 and 2021, we shouldn't be struggling with this, and we really shouldn't, because
Mhm.
a lot of us have embraced our skin and our hair and the crazy wonderful things that it does and that we're able to do with it. And then we are sometimes reminded of how colonized our minds actually are when we have a gorilla glue girl woman who is willing to permanently damage herself, possibly lose her hair, damage her follicles in order to have her edges laid out. Like, and we are, a lot of us are like, why? Like, why was it so important? And I guess because we have gotten away from needing social
Mhm.
media or attention or mass attention from the world about our hair, because I think our hair is a protest. And I think it was either Kathleen Cleaver or Angela Davis who said something about our afros being like protest. I don't remember if it was Kathleen. Cleaver or Angela Davis who said it, but our hair being a protest. And Brandy, you said it. Why is our hair such a threat? Because our hair just doesn't lay down. Our hair stands up, it lays down. When your hair is in an afro, the wind can blow and it won't move. It's like we were talking about, it's like the immovable object. Like it won't go anywhere. Like it's always protesting. It's always standing up, whether it's curly or whatever. And our natural hair is an automatic FU to the colonized world, because it's the one thing that cannot be tamed. If you let it go, it will not be tamed. We can't do nothing with it. And at this point, if you're woke and enlightened, you just let it go.
And then you hear people say that so and so's hair, you know, they can't go natural. Like, you know, she
That's
don't
the way it
look
grows.
right with natural hair. Your hair grows now. How can something that grows naturally out of your hair
Not enhance you.
wrong? How can you not look good with natural hair when that's what naturally grows out of your head?
But like you said, Brandy, when you started on your natural journey, you had never seen what your natural hair looked like. So it was a fear of what is this gonna be? And my hair was natural until I got to high school. I didn't put any chemicals on my hair until I got to high school.
Girl, I was a baby. I was young with perms and everything. I had never seen my natural hair. I had no memory of what my natural hair do.
Yeah, I didn't go natural to high school.
And now,
I didn't crack to high school.
Now I can cut my hair off. I can let it grow. My hair doesn't define me.
Right.
I've cut my hair off several times to where I had basically bald. And you know, people are like, oh, you're gonna cut your hair off? It's just my hair.
It's just hair.
It'll grow
hair.
back.
I hope that we all can get to that point where it's just hair. Now, what do y'all think after this? Do y'all think we're gonna see a lot more from Terica? Even she's out
in her new wigs.
I mean, she's already done this. What more can she do?
I don't follow her. I just followed her to see what would happen with all of this, but I don't think anyone's gonna pay attention to her
after this.
Yeah. They already got people faking and acting like they've done it.
Yeah, there's a lot of little parodies out about, using Gorilla Glue on certain.
Or the girl who said she did a bikini wax, and I'm like, girl, stop.
First of all, how can you do a bikini wax with Gorilla Glue?
She didn't, and she had somebody there pouring water all on her cooch.
Mm-hmm. Probably needed it anyway. But it's probably on fire for a whole different reason.
Probably.
I don't know.
Like, girl, there was one gorilla girl there. We're not gonna pay attention to no more. So
yeah,
that's
on your cooch. You did it for no reason.
Cautionary tale, people, to everybody, whether you're black or white or whatever. If it belongs in the utility room or in the laundry room, it probably does not belong in your bathtub or on your hair. Even though my grandfather used to use Tide in the bathtub.
I'm gonna say that my grandmother used.
Itching.
Daddy would be like, I was like, Daddy, we ain't got no more soap. He would just give me a little bit of that Tide, just a little handful. And that's okay. Well, hey, that was tough as nails back in the day. It didn't belong on the skin, but hey, he did. Yeah, but again, still didn't belong on his skin. Trust me, y'all, it's not that important to harm yourself like this, to put yourself through this for clout, for social media attention,
for beauty,
for your beauty. Don't do all this back alley stuff, because what you're doing now could adversely affect you for years and years and years to come. What if her hair didn't grow back?
Oh, and don't put it on the internet. I mean, I did some stupid stuff, because I'm dark. And, growing up, being called tall babies and stuff like that. You do stupid stuff because you think that's going to work to make you lighter. But I wouldn't run around telling people that this is what I did to try to lighten my skin.
Yeah, you hit it. But I'm going to tell you, I like your skin. One of the first things I noticed about Jackie was she was in a training class and she came in and I was like, who is this walking in here? I mean, skin, dark skin, just shining, and she got
If
this
this
great,
light do me
this
justice.
gray patch right here, and she had her hair pinned back on the side. I said, "Oh, sis, coming in here for real."
Yeah, this light does me justice. I am chocolate, like
Yes, she
chocolate,
is beautifully chocolate, and I
chocolate.
was like, "Okay, sis." Like, I don't know what it is about super dark skinned people that is just so
Super dark.
wonderful to me. If you have chocolate skin, I am so attracted to it. I'm just like, can I touch it? Like, can
Yeah, see, we're like that now. Back then,
no,
no.
no, no.
And I'm about 5'7", and I was thicker. Baby, it
And
was
like I
rough.
said, we are three of us. We are varying shades of a darker tone,
Chocolate,
and
yeah.
we've heard the jokes, and we've heard that, and then with our hair texture, um,
African
we
booty
have to
scratch.
try to live
Yes,
up to a certain
girl.
standard. We've tried
African
to live up to a
booty
certain standard, but I'm telling you now, at 43, and I'm going to admit that I'm 43. At 43, I have never in my life,
we were.
never in my life felt more beautiful than than at this age, because I don't require any validation from a makeup company. Even though I wear it, I don't have to, and most of the time people see me without it, um, because I've gotten to the point where I've accepted my skin, I've accepted my size, my weight, my hair, everything that I wake up with, that I was born with. I own all of that. And um, especially during Black History Month, we always we quote facts and talk about inventors. I don't think we really explore too much image, self-image and validation of little Black girls and little Black boys. And so to tell them that, we always tell them how smart they are and they can be who they want to be, but they really can't be who they want to be if they're not aware of themselves and okay with themselves before they go into the academic world or go out to the world. Because at that point, if we don't validate these kids at home and tell them how gorgeous and wonderful that they are the way that they're born, then anybody can tell them anything
Right.
about their image. And they get to bleaching changing the color of their eyes beyond contacts and all this stupid crap, because we didn't tell them that your nappy hair is good, your dark skin is good, your oversized top lip is good, your wide nose is good, your big eyes is good. Like, we don't say that. We don't say that. And I think well, our parents didn't say that. You know, I'm quite sure y'all
And
say
we didn't have we didn't have anyone to say she looks like me.
hmm Yep, we didn't have it. We didn't have any of those role models. We had Beverly Johnsons and um, America's Top Model Girl and all this stuff. We had these supermodels
It's
that
the
were
We had
right.
we
wearing
had a
weaves and
but
wigs and stuff
yeah.
to hide their natural states. And so we didn't have models out there with Afro puffs and rocking it. We didn't have Alec Wex and all that stuff and Ducky. We didn't have those women out there who looked like us and celebrated looking like us. So um, I'm glad we have that now, so that even in our 40s, I don't think Jackie reached that milestone yet. Even in our 40s, that we can get to a place where we really appreciate ourselves, and then we can appreciate other Black women who look like us. We can go with, we can compliment and look at what, like I said, when I first saw Jackie walking out, I was in awe. I'm not gonna lie, I was in awe. Like, to say, like, damn, she's
I was like, oh my god, I've never seen anybody with a perfect bob lock before. I mean, her hair's growing a whole lot. It was perfect. It was like, I was like, how? And
Jackie,
I'm like,
Jackie was
look,
free
you
with
man.
compliments, and I'm like, okay, sis, we about to fall in love in a minute here. But it was like a mutual exchange all the time, because I was in awe of her looks, and I like to celebrate the way other
Yeah,
Black people look, and I like to see people who look like me. So, Terica, I'm sorry that you had to go through this journey, and I'm sorry you learned the hard way that Beauty is not. Don't be a sacrificial lamb to
Yeah,
this.
don't do
You had to. Your crown is a little tarnished right now. Um,
okay.
but it's okay. You'll grow back, and you know, just stick with the eco styler, sis. I'll send you some of mine. I got plenty. I got plenty. All right. So y'all got anything else before we end this very interesting show about black hair and influence and all that this week?
I just want to say one thing. We're going back to the Mississippi thing. The reason I did not want to ever be caught in Mississippi was because of Mildred D. Taylor let the circle be unbroken with Cassie Logan and her family, who lived in Mississippi in the 1950s or 40s or somewhere around there. That series was the reason I didn't want to step foot in Mississippi.
And what's it called?
Let the Circle Be Unbroken with Mildred D. Taylor.
Okay.
It was a children's series with Cassie Logan and her family, and her uncle who had a Packard and drove from the big city, and the racist white folks was upset that this black man had a Packard.
Mm. Mm.
That was the reason I didn't want to go to Mississippi. I was going to say that earlier, but I just skipped my mind. But for those of you who read that series, which was an excellent series, but yeah, didn't want to be nowhere near Mississippi. And somehow I found myself in Alabama and have been here for many years.
Yeah.
California girl.
Yeah. My family is from Alabama, and that I've never read that particular series, but my mom had a very real experience in Mississippi where they were traveling from California back to Alabama, and my grandfather's car broke down or something, and they used to have at the service stations, they used to have the lifts like outside, you know. And so there's 6 kids in the car, 5 or 6 kids in the car at the time, and my grandfather's outside the car, so they tell him to drive over the lift, and they lift the car in the air with my grandmother and all of her kids in the car. My grandfather is outside of the car, and they left them in that car on that lift for hours. So my grandmother and all of her kids are in the air on a lift for hours, and the white mechanics did nothing. And my grandfather is standing there and he can't do anything. And this was in Mississippi. So
we all have stories of that.
Those very real stories. And unfortunately, those affect the future generations because you have those phantom memories. You weren't there, but you feel it and you can see it.
PTSD passed down.
Yes.
I mean, we know that.
Yes.
We carry the burden of our ancestors who went through the Middle Passage, even though we didn't go through it personally.
But you can hear the drums
passed down from generation to generation.
Yes. You can hear the drums. I promise you can. If you've been to a place where there's been a historical event, you can feel it, you can see it. One of the things here in Dallas, of course, the 6th floor museum, if any of you guys have ever visited, and you go upstairs to the 6th floor and you look out of that window and you look over that tree and you see that X, or you look down the street. If you look down the street and you can imagine in your head the motorcade of JFK coming down the street. You weren't there, but you can imagine that, and you feel it. Brandy and I went to the 16th Street Baptist Church. I was in Birmingham, what was it, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, I was strong.
I was distraught. In the museum across the street, the Civil Rights Museum, they have artifacts from that bombing that morning. And one of the things that I saw that I had to walk away was I don't know whose person's shoes it was, but one of the little girls, her purse that she carried to church and her shoe was in the display case. I lost it because as I'm looking at this, I'm looking across the street at that church,
Mhm.
and I like, I was, I was almost there. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we carried things that we weren't even literally a part of, but we carried that, and this is my mom's experience in Mississippi is the reason why I can't, like, I get physically ill going through that state. Like, yeah. So if I was ever to meet anybody in a significant other who lived in Mississippi, we would be married because I never meet his family. 'Cause I ain't going. I ain't going. I can't. Lovely people down there, but I just can't go because um, the trauma. And I've had trauma, similar trauma, personal trauma in Alabama, but it wasn't as traumatic. Um, but you
But
know,
we turn on the TV all the time, and we see same recycled pictures. It's just a different decade.
right?
It happens all the time.
It still happens.
Now they're hashtags, but back then it was just the
Real life.
story of so and so who had to be rushed out in the middle of the night because the white people was looking for him, or somebody who disappeared and never came home, or somebody who was hung in the square or killed for no reason. I
Right.
mean, every black family has
Has that. Has that
stories.
story. All right. Well, next week we will continue a story about, involving Black History Month, because you know what, even though this is Black Coffee and Crime, this is our damn show. We can talk about what we want to talk about, and we're gonna talk about Black history. So we will bring you another show next week on time. We will be recording on a Sunday because it won't be Valentine's Day, and then we'll bring you that show, of course, on Tuesdays. But if you have any suggestions for future shows, comments about this show or any previous show that we've already recorded, hit us up at info@blackcoffeecrime.com, or on Instagram or Facebook, or comment on YouTube, also at Black Coffee Crime. So we are going to say goodnight, and we will see you all next week.